Flamingos are some of the world's most visually captivating birds, both in terms of their physical appearance and the spectacular locations in which they abide. Thanks to the variations in their plumage, beaks, and legs, flamingos are also one of the most interesting bird families to identify. The American flamingo is arguably the easiest to identify of all 6 species, exhibiting the plumage with the deepest shade of pink. When stationary, the black feathers in their plumage are almost unnoticeable, but when in flight, the long black feathers along the trailing edge of the wings make this unique plumage all the more eye-catching. The American flamingo is a little shorter than the greater flamingo, at no more than 145 centimeters tall, and is also a little lighter, weighing no more than 8 pounds. American flamingos display one of the most striking transformations between their juvenile and adult plumage, a process that takes many years. Incubation lasts around 28 days, which takes place on a mound made from mud, and once hatched, chicks exhibit a fluffy white-grey plumage with a pink beak and feet. As the chick matures, the bill begins to curve and the juvenile plumage slowly gives way to their adult coloration, and sexual maturity is reached in 3 to 5 years. Average life expectancy is around 27 years, although in January 2022, Betty, an American flamingo at the Smithsonian's National Zoo, passed away at an incredible 67 years of age. Also known as the Caribbean flamingo, the regular distribution of this species is centered around the countries of the Caribbean, with a population as far south as the Galapagos Islands. Although less common, this species does frequent several southeastern states of the US, and the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission reports that sightings of flamingos are increasingly being reported along the northern fringe of the Everglades. The American flamingo shares its genus with 2 other species, one of which is found in South America and the other on the eastern side of the Atlantic, across the countries of 3 continents. The greater flamingo can best be identified by the color of its beak. Like all other flamingos, the tip of the beak is black, but it is the only species to sport a bright pink coloration, which matches the color of its legs. The greater flamingo is also widely considered to be the largest flamingo species, with some individuals measuring 150 centimeters tall, and sporting a wingspan of up to 170 centimeters, which comes in handy for certain populations that migrate long distances. Between their resident, breeding, non-breeding, and vagrant ranges, the greater flamingo is found in the largest number of countries of any species in this family. The extent to which different populations migrate depends on their location. Individuals in the northern part of their range, for example those who spend their summers in Europe, migrate south for the winter, whereas those located to the south of their range, for example those found in the Great Rift Valley of East Africa, are classified as year-round residents and migrate much shorter distances between the different lakes in search of food. The reproductive characteristics of the greater flamingo are almost the exact same as the American flamingo, although the time to reach sexual maturity can be even longer, at up to 5 to 6 years. There are 2 species of flamingo on the African continent, which can be distinguished both by size and coloration. The lesser flamingo can be most easily identified by the color of its beak, which is a captivating mixture of colors and is much darker than that of the greater flamingo. It is also the smaller of the 2 African species, weighing no more than 4 to 5 pounds, and standing significantly shorter at up to 90 centimeters tall. This smaller stature is exhibited by just 1 other species, which we'll meet on our return to the Americas. On the African continent, the range of the lesser flamingo is not too dissimilar to that of the greater flamingo, being found throughout much of East, Southern, and West Africa, in addition to India and Pakistan, but isn't found further into the Palearctic. The largest populations of lesser flamingos occur in the Great Rift Valley, where an estimated 1.5 to 2.5 million birds can be observed alongside the greater flamingo. This area represents the most popular breeding location for these birds, who only breed once every 5 years or more. Despite the large number of lesser flamingos, due to their breeding grounds being at risk from human development and a tendency to die off in large numbers, this species marks the first of 4 whose conservation status is not set to least concern. the second of which is located back on the western side of the Atlantic, where we meet our final 3 species of flamingo. The Andean flamingo is often cited as the largest of the South American species, but most sources list it as shorter in height than both the Caribbean and greater flamingos. This species is most visually similar to the smaller Puna Flamingo, with visible black feathers towards the tail and a yellow coloration both in its beak and its long yellow legs, a combination which no other species exhibits. Like the other 5 species, the Andean flamingo is a filter feeder and is found in the salt lakes of the high Andes mountain range at elevations up to 15,000 feet. These lakes are some of the most spectacular in the world, and like some of the lakes on the African continent, appear red in colour. All flamingos get their pink coloration from carotenoids present in the foods they consume, such as algae and brine shrimp, who also eat the algae. These carotenoids are digested and broken down into pigments which, over time, give adult flamingos their characteristic colour. Unfortunately, the Andean flamingo is the only species in this family with a conservation status of vulnerable, with a total population estimated in 2010 of around 38,000 birds. The range of this species is quite small compared to the other birds we've discussed, found between just 4 countries in Central South America, and is almost identical to our next species with an interesting name. The Puna Flamingo derives its name from the Puna grassland ecoregion, which runs along the central portion of the Andes mountain range. It is also known as James's flamingo, named after a British naturalist named Harry Berkeley James. This species is most easily differentiated from the Andean flamingo by its pink legs, and also exhibits a deeper yellow colour in its beak, in addition to its smaller stature. Although it also displays black feathers around the tail, this is to a lesser degree than the Andean flamingo, further helping to identify it. Interestingly, it is not only its stature that is small in comparison to most other flamingos, but also the size of its prey. Puna flamingos prey upon diatoms, a type of phytoplankton that measure 21 to 60 micrometers in length, which it forages for in the top 2 centimeters of the water. Due to the weather conditions in the Andes, the Puna flamingo is classified as an altitudinal migrant, living at lower elevations during the cold winter months before migrating to higher elevations for the summer. The Puna and Andean flamingos share South America with our final species, which exhibits a much larger range and a different appearance. Visually, the Chilean flamingo is the most unique of the 3 species found exclusively on the South American continent. Its beak is white and black, exhibiting no other coloration, and it also lacks the visible black tail feathers found on both the Andean and Puna flamingos, although these are visible when in flight. Although their plumage is a paler shade of pink, this bird can look quite similar to the American or Caribbean flamingo, but adults can be easily identified by their grey legs, although this does appear to be a pale yellow in some individuals, and can look quite spectacular with their pink knee joints and feet. It is the most widely distributed of the South American species, found from the southern tip of Argentina and Chile all the way up to Ecuador in the north. It is another species listed as near threatened, although their total population is significantly higher than that of the Andean flamingo, at roughly 300,000 individuals estimated in 2011. This species breeds at any time of year and averages a single egg per season. As with other species, its nest is categorized as a mound, which is one of the 13 types of birds' nests, all of which you can learn about in this video, with over 30 examples from different species. Thank you so much for watching.